You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I want to take the opportunity to congratulate my good friend, Honorable Alassa Suhuyini, on your nomination as Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Indeed, just like my colleague said, 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to be vetted by this August committee, and Honorable Suhuyini was a member. And I must admit that he asked very important questions. And 4 years later, as fate will have it, like we say, no condition is permanent. I have come here as a member of the committee, not a member per se, but a subject matter rep, to also ask you questions. Honorable Suhuyini, you are a deputy minister nominee, and as you know, as deputy minister, God willing, should you get the nod, you will not be taking substantive decisions. At best, you will be supporting your minister. So, asking very substantive questions, I'm not too sure is the way to go. But I just want to pick your mind on a couple of things. Yesterday, the Honorable Minister of Roads and Highways, or I must say the Ministry of Roads and Highways, issued a statement that a committee has been formed to look into the operations of the ASIL load. By the way, I'm in support of that, just so that it doesn't get twisted. As you know, I have been there before, and I know there are a lot of problems associated with it. So it is in the right direction that is being investigated. I encountered a lot of problems with that, but as you know, my period at the ministry was an extraordinary one. If in a race, you will call it the home stretch. So one could not pay a lot of attention to that, even though I had done some investigation. But I just want to find out from you, what are your thoughts on that? Whether you've been briefed, and what do you think are the issues? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your compliments, Honorable. Mr. Chairman, I have not started work. I also followed it in the news. I was very impressed, but not surprised, that my minister, together with the transport minister, before taking this action, actually visited the Tema ports, I'm told, and saw for themselves some of the acts of cheating. And based on their information and their, observation, they decided to commence this investigation. And it is my hope and prayer that the investigation will yield the needed results that will inform a decision that will be taken to prevent such revenue losses to the state. Because clearly what the ministry requires now are funds because of the need all over the country when it comes to the road infrastructure. So however we can raise the needed revenue to support government agenda, I think that it is all well and good. So I must commend the minister and the ministry for taking the initiative to conduct this investigation. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nominee. Honorable Nominee, just by way of correction, the objective of this ASIL load station is not to raise revenue. Some misimpression been created in the public that it's supposed to raise revenue. It's not. The objective is to prevent certain level of loads by some trust to avoid the deterioration of the road. So the fact that you are raising money doesn't mean that you are achieving your objective. So it's a tricky issue. And that is why I thought maybe you have an understanding. But like you said, you are just about to start work. But the second question is about prioritization. Yesterday on the floor, Honorable colleague, Honorable Opon Nkrumah, raised a very important issue of the use of leveraging public-private partnership arrangement in raising financing for road projects. That has become necessary, even though it has its own challenges, as we discussed on the floor of Parliament yesterday. That has become necessary because the budgetary allocation for road construction is woefully inadequate, given the demand for roads across the country. Yet, traditional financing, like loans and grants, have also proven to be unsustainable. So it's really a big deal when we are talking about road construction, because everywhere you go, when you go to church, when you visit our traditional leaders, when you go to your constituents, when you travel across the country, the number one demand of most Ghanaians is road. And yet we don't have the resources for that. This calls for prioritization of certain roads so that you can, the limited resource that you have, you can use it to do as much as you can. I would just want to find out what are some of the important considerations you assist your minister with in deciding which of these roads to be prioritized. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I am guided by the Honorable's direction on the axle load, except that my focus, unfortunately, perhaps because I'm not very well briefed yet, was on the penalties that are usually charged when people dodge these axle loads and the revenue that it accrues for the state. But you are right. I think the focus should be on ensuring that people don't overload the vehicles and put the integrity of the roads at risk by that conduct. To the question of how to raise more funding for road projects that are demanded and requested by people across the country, I think that I agree with your thinking, but currently we do not have any road in this country that has been constructed as a result of public-private partnership. I know that there are some works in relation to how we can do that, being guided by Act 1039, and I'm also hopeful that it will yield some results. But personally, I think that maybe we have to also begin to look at the investment portfolios of some of these, our pension institutions. You know, I think that, for example, when I pick reports from Senate, and I see that they are investing in luxurious hotels, and they are investing in some assets, I wonder if, you know, moving forward, some of these funds cannot be used to support this very critical infrastructure needs of the country, and like we are talking about tolling, and toll it over the years. I mean, for example, if you have an agency supporting the construction of a dual carriageway from Tamale, I mean from Accra to say even Tamale, but let's even stop at Kumasi, and toll, and maybe have like 4 points tolls. I mean, for a number of years, I'm sure that that investment, because you see, pension funds, in my view, are to be invested in long-term instruments, because people will go on pension after a number of years. So I think that that conversation should go on. I will be guided by the agenda of my minister for now, as far as the law allows for us to engage partners that will work with the road ministry to improve the road network in the country.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I think the nominee missed my question. I mean, I laid a foundation to underscore the point that we have limited funds for roads, yet the demands are high. But my point was that there's the need for prioritization in the midst of unlimited funds and high demand for roads. But what are the considerations?
Honorable Asensobochi, before asking your questions, you said, as a deputy minister, you appreciate the fact that he doesn't take policy decisions, but only assists the minister in doing so. So you intend not to ask him a question that will border on policy?
Honorable Chair, I did say that, but I also added that I'm picking his mind, his thoughts, and he's a very intelligent. Maybe out of this, his minister will know where to place him in the ministry. Yeah, so I don't think it's too much for him, but I just want to know, Mr. Chair, it is important because you see we have very limited resources, yet the demands are high, and how best are we going to use these limited resources to, you know,
Honorable
the best interest of the country?
He said he would take guidance from his minister as part of his answer. He said he would take guidance from the minister.
No. He said that in relation to raising financing for road projects, but not regarding the considerations for prioritization.
Well, before you come in, let me give the floor to the Vice Chairman. He wants to draw a distinction between PPP and privatization.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Member, you were talking about options as a result of limited, resources, and you mean from the government side. But you were mixing up privatization and PPP. They are not the same thing. You did say that. I just listened to you earlier on.
I never said that. And
so I didn't know exactly. No,
wait a minute. Okay.
I didn't know exactly what you were asking nominee to answer. So that's the...
But Honorable Leader, I never mentioned privatization. I said that yesterday on the floor, Honorable Kojo Oponkroma raised the issue of PPP as an option to leverage on to raise capital for infrastructure. And he even went ahead to discuss the challenges associated with that approach. And I'm saying that there are challenges regarding raising of funds for road construction. And therefore, we need to prioritize with the limited resources that we have. That is what I said. I didn't talk about privatization.
So what then is your question? Your question? My
question I asked. I wanted to find out what are the considerations that will go into prioritizing road construction in the country. I've said that many times.
But is that not what he said? He would take guidance from the minister?
But if he's not the minister, then why should you have the vetting? Exactly. So he should respond.
Please
him respond.
Address the chair, Honorable Sensubochi.
It is important, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Sensubochi, is it not in relation to this that the nominee said he would take guidance from the minister?
No.
Okay, Honorable nominee, what's your answer?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think generally the considerations have been high traffic areas, areas with high population, roads leading to agric, production areas, farmlands, and all of that. And I think that tourism has also become an area that can attract the need for roads to be prioritized. But in all of this, Mr. Chairman, you are right. The minister working to the president will give the guidance and the direction as to how the ministry will prioritize roads that will be constructed within the period. Thank you.
Any further question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, you see, he is up to the task and responded in a way that
Any further question?
So it's important that we allow him to speak. He's not a baby. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, my last question just want to find. I've been at the ministry before, and I know that there are a lot of road projects already in place. Yet, we are not in the position to pay the contractors to speed up the work. In many areas, contractors are crying for payments, but we just don't have the resources, the money to pay all of them to work at the same time. Will he consider advising the minister to not, as an immediate measure, award new contracts, but to use the limited resources to pay contractors who are working on the existing projects? Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I am, first of all, not in a position to advise my minister. I am to support him and make suggestions, and I will do that when I am requested to, or when the need arises. But I watched my minister's vetting. I rewatched it a couple of times, and I noticed the passion with which he spoke about the debts that the ministry currently have to deal with. Over 100 billion Ghana cedis of commitments, and about 20 billion, Ghana cedis arrears that have to be paid. So when we speak of the volumes of construction that is going on, we also have to speak in terms of the debts that it has saddled the ministry and, for that matter, the nation with. But I am very convinced, and I have no doubt in the judgment of my minister, that having been given all the briefing and all the records of the ministry, he will take the decision that is most appropriate and in the best interest of Ghana and the people of Ghana. And I will support him to implement that. Thank you.
Thank you.